Introduction. Engaging opening. Congratulations, if this message has found its way to you before the 8th of November, I want you to pause for a moment and recognize what that truly means, because this, right here, right now, is not coincidence, it is confirmation. You see, there are moments in life when heaven leans close to the earth, when the ordinary becomes sacred, and timing becomes everything. You didn't just scroll upon this, you didn't just happen to listen. You were chosen to hear it before November 8th, because something is about to shift in your life. Stay with me to the end, because before you finish this message, you will understand why this exact moment, your moment, is preparing you for something extraordinary. Body point 1, divine timing. The timing of this message is divine. There is a reason it came before a date, not after it, because God often warns, guides, and positions before He releases. Those who hear early are those who are called to prepare. If this message reached you in time, it means you are being invited, not into fear, but into faith. Something has been stirring. Something is shifting, and you're right on the edge of it. Point 2. The window of opportunity. We are in a narrow window. A brief sacred space before change comes. Opportunities don't always shout. Sometimes they whisper. And those who have ears to hear before November 8 will step into what others will miss. This isn't about dates on a calendar. It's about readiness of the heart. What you decide now, what you pray now, and what you believe now will echo far beyond this moment. Point 3, faith over fear. You may look at your situation and see nothing happening, but faith says, even when I see nothing, something is moving. The reason this message found you early is because fear has been trying to slow you down. But faith wants to lift you up. The days before November 8 are days of courage, not confusion. Walk boldly. Speak with conviction. Because your preparation in this short time will unlock what's waiting on the other side. Point 4. The power of expectation. Expectation is the atmosphere of miracles. If you expect small, you receive small, but if you expect greatly, heaven responds greatly. So as you hear this message, lift your expectation. Before November 8 arrives, speak what you desire to see. Declare it, visualize it, believe it, because what you expect, you attract. Point 5, the turning point. When November 8 comes, something will shift. For some, it will be the day they realize what they missed. But for you, if you heard and prepared, it will be the day things begin to open. You will look back and say, I'm glad that message reached me on time. Because heaven marks obedience, not coincidence. You are standing on the edge of breakthrough. Congratulations, you made it in time. Conclusion, call to action. So I say it again with conviction. Congratulations if this message reached you before November 8. It's a sign that you are aligned with destiny. Don't waste these days. Pray, prepare, and position yourself, because when that date comes, the doors that were closed will begin to open, and what was delayed will finally be delivered. This message didn't come to everyone. It came to you, and that means you are chosen for what's coming next. The fact that this message has reached you before November 8 is not something ordinary. It's not just timing, not just coincidence, not a random moment that slipped through your feed or came by chance. No, this is divine timing. Every great move of destiny begins with a whisper from heaven before it becomes visible on earth. And right now, you are standing in that whisper, a sacred pause where the invisible hand of God is aligning something in your life. When heaven decides to visit a person, it doesn't come with noise, it comes with timing. If this message has arrived before the 8th of November, it means that time is working for you, not against you. Think about it. How many times have we ignored moments that seem small, only to look back and realize they were the beginnings of something great? Divine timing rarely announces itself. It hides in moments that feel ordinary but are actually orchestrated. And you, hearing this message now, are being given a glimpse of that orchestration. The timing of this message means that the heavens have scheduled you for awareness, for readiness, for awakening before others even realize what's happening. There's something powerful about being early in the Spirit. When you receive a message like this before the appointed time, it's not to scare you or fill you with anxiety. It's to prepare you, because every promise, every blessing, every breakthrough requires a prepared vessel. And divine timing doesn't just bring opportunity, it brings instruction. The fact that you're hearing this now means you're being gently invited to align yourself, to pray a little deeper, to think a little clearer, to expect a little higher. In every era, there are people who hear before others. Noah heard before the rain. Joseph dreamed before the famine. Mary believed before the miracle. Every one of them had to respond before the world saw what was coming. And that is what this message is doing, calling you to respond before the moment arrives. This is not about superstition or fear. It's about sensitivity. It's about being awake in a world that sleeps through its own opportunities. Divine timing means that you are not late to your promise, even if it feels like others are ahead. Heaven's calendar has its own schedule, and it just notified you. When a divine message finds you early, it is heaven saying, I trust you to move while others wait. It's an invitation to preparation, not panic, to expectation, not exhaustion. It's heaven saying, get ready. Something is on its way, and I don't want you to miss it. You see, when God aligns time and message, something inside you begins to shift. Maybe you feel that stirring even now. That sense that you're on the verge of something, though you can't explain it yet. That's what divine timing feels like. Quiet urgency. It's not noise, it's knowing. It's the awareness that I am meant to hear this right now, even if you don't yet know why. And here's the truth. When you honor divine timing honors you. If this message reached you before November 8th, it's not just information, it's an activation. You're being marked for awareness. Every day until that date carries weight. How you think, what you speak, where you focus, all of it becomes a seed for what's about to unfold. Don't brush this moment aside. Don't say, I'll think about it later. Later is what this message came to warn you about. Right now, before November 8th, there is grace. Grace to prepare, to believe again, to shift your mindset, to release what's been holding you back. This is not the time to look at what you've lost. It's the time to prepare for what's about to be given, and you are being given the gift of early notice. That means heaven is entrusting you with foresight, something most people never get. Timing is heaven's signature. When something arrives before you expect it, it's not interruption. It's invitation. And this invitation is calling you to pay attention, to lift your eyes from the noise, to tune your heart to the quiet voice that says, it's almost time. Don't take that lightly. People miss miracles not because they are far away, but because they are distracted when they arrive. So if you're hearing this, smile, breathe, realize that this message is not here to rush you. It's here to ready you. It's a message wrapped in divine timing, whispering, you're not too late, you're perfectly on time. And when the moment comes, when November 8 dawns, you'll look back and realize this wasn't just a message, it was a signal that heaven was already working on your behalf, setting things in motion long before you saw them with your eyes. Divine timing doesn't just deliver events, it delivers people into purpose. And today, that person is you. There are moments in life when the air feels still, when something inside you whispers that a change is near. You can't explain it, but you feel it, that sense of anticipation, that stirring in your spirit. That is the sign of a divine window opening right now before November 8th. Such a window is open. It's not a window of fear or uncertainty. It's a window of opportunity, a moment when heaven bends low and invites you to step forward in faith. The fact that you are hearing this message now means that this window was meant for you. It is a small, sacred space where decisions carry eternal weight, where your response can shape the season ahead. Windows of opportunity don't stay open forever. They are brief, they are intentional, and they are given to those who are alert. Many people live their whole lives waiting for big moments, but the truth is, the greatest opportunities often arrive disguised as quiet moments of preparation. Before every great change, there comes a stillness, A pause between what was and what will be. This is that pause. These days leading up to November 8th are not ordinary days. They are divine invitations to align your heart, your thoughts, and your actions with the next chapter of your life. When heaven opens a window, it doesn't always announce itself with noise or drama. It often comes through a whisper, a message, a feeling that you are being called to prepare. This is why this message has reached you now. Because what happens next depends on what you choose to do in this small window of time. You can choose to doubt, to delay, to wait for a clearer sign, or you can choose to believe that this message itself is the sign. Those who act in faith during these moments are the ones who experience breakthrough when the window closes. Every person is given divine moments, crossroads between the familiar and the unknown. Most miss them because they seem too simple, too ordinary. But opportunity rarely looks dramatic. It looks like an invitation to trust. Before November 8, that's exactly what this is. An invitation to trust that you are being prepared for something that will make sense later. You may not yet see the full picture, but that's the beauty of faith. It walks before sight. The window before you is not about seeing everything clearly. It's about taking a step before it's too late. The universe moves in patterns and seasons. Some seasons are for planting, some for waiting, and others for harvest. But before every harvest comes a short window of decision. You are standing in one right now. If you act in faith, you align yourself with divine timing. If you hesitate, the moment passes and what could have been remains only a memory. Don't let this opportunity slip away because of fear, doubt, or distraction. Recognize the sacredness of this moment. You've been trusted with time, a few days of grace to prepare for what's ahead. There's a reason this message didn't reach you later. It came now because heaven is giving you a chance to shift your focus, to realign your priorities, to open your heart for what's coming. This is not a message to rush you. It's a message to awaken you. The window before November 8 is about readiness. What you pray now, what you speak now, what you choose now will determine what unfolds afterward. Every thought and action in this period carries multiplied significance. So don't treat these days as ordinary. Treat them as sacred. Think of this window as the time before dawn. The sky is dark, but the sun is near. You may not see light yet, but it's about to break through. That's what divine opportunity feels like. A quiet assurance that something greater is on its way. Your job is to stay awake, to not fall asleep spiritually, emotionally, or mentally, because when the first light appears, those who were ready will rise with it. Those who were distracted will miss what they were meant to receive. This window is also a test of trust. It asks you, can you prepare without seeing? Can you act without full understanding? Can you believe that the unseen hand of God is arranging things in your favor? Those who can say yes will be the ones who walk into new levels of peace, blessing, and purpose after November 8, because this is more than a date. It's a shift. A shift in seasons, in circumstances, in spiritual atmosphere. But every shift begins with a choice made before it happens. So ask yourself, what is this window calling you to do? Maybe it's time to forgive someone. Maybe it's time to let go of something that no longer serves you. Maybe it's time to take the step you've been delaying because of fear. This is the moment to act. Because when heaven opens a window, every act of obedience becomes a seed that multiplies. You may think it's small now, but on the other side of this window, you will see how it changes everything. Don't underestimate these days. Every word you speak, every prayer you make, every decision you take is positioning you for what's coming next. This is your preparation season, and it's short. If you waste it, you'll lose the momentum, but if you honor it, you set the stage for divine acceleration. Opportunity loves those who are ready, and readiness is a form of faith. So hear this with your heart. This window will not last long, but what it unlocks will last a lifetime. You have been given the advantage of early awareness. That means you have time to prepare, to focus, to strengthen your faith. Don't wait for confirmation from others. You already have it. This message is the confirmation. Before November 8th, take time to pray, to plan, to align, speak life over your future, expect the best, believe that what's coming will be worth every moment of waiting. Because when the window closes, those who were ready will rise. They'll move into opportunities others will only dream about. And you too will realize that the message you heard before November 8 wasn't just another speech. It was a divine warning wrapped in grace. It was heaven's way of saying, get ready. The window is open, but not for long. Faith over fear. 3 simple words, yet they carry the power to determine the course of your entire life. Every person faces a choice in moments of uncertainty. To be guided by faith or to be governed by fear. Fear paralyzes, but faith propels. Fear sees obstacles, but faith sees opportunities hidden within them. If this message has reached you before November 8, it's because heaven is calling you to make that choice. To stand firm in faith even when fear tries to whisper louder. The days ahead may seem unpredictable, but the truth is, you don't need to know every detail when you know the one who holds the details in his hands. There comes a time in every person's journey when fear begins to question your progress. What if you fail? What if nothing changes? What if it's too late? But faith responds with a louder voice. Even if I don't see it, I believe it's working. This is that time. The season before November 8 is not meant to intimidate you, but to invite you to trust beyond what you can see. When fear says stop, faith says step. When fear says wait, faith says walk. Because faith isn't waiting for perfect conditions, it creates them. Fear thrives in uncertainty. It loves silence, delay, and confusion. It feeds on what you don't understand. But faith grows in the same soil. The difference is how you respond. You can let fear fill your heart, or let faith frame your future. The people who will rise after this moment are not the ones who felt no fear. They are the ones who refuse to be ruled by it. The greatest miracles happen when fear is present, but faith is greater. That's why this message found you early, because fear has been trying to speak louder. And heaven wanted to remind you that faith still wins when you choose it. The truth is, fear and faith are both forms of belief. Fear believes in the worst. Faith believes in the best. Fear imagines what could go wrong. Faith envisions what could go right. Both demand your imagination, your energy, your focus, but only one leads to freedom. Fear limits you, faith liberates you. And right now, before November 8, you are standing at a spiritual crossroads between the two. The days ahead will reveal what's truly in your heart. Will you shrink back, or will you rise in belief? Faith is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. Every great destiny began with a trembling step. Noah built while it had never rained. Abraham walked without knowing where he was going. Peter stepped onto water while the storm raged. None of them waited for fear to disappear. They moved while it was still present. And as they moved, fear lost its power. That's the pattern of faith. It silences fear by acting. So if you've been hesitating, if you've been doubting your next step, understand this. You don't need all the answers to start. You just need the courage to believe that your obedience will make a way. Faith is a seed, and this message is watering it. The reason it reached you before November 8 is because heaven knows you've been battling uncertainty. Maybe you've been praying for a sign, or waiting for a confirmation, or wondering whether your efforts are worth it. This message is your answer. Yes, they are. Faith never goes unrewarded. Every prayer whispered in hope is building something unseen. Every step taken in trust is paving the way for a breakthrough. Don't let fear convince you otherwise. Fear is loud because it knows its time is short. Whenever something good is near, fear grows desperate. It tries to distract you with what-ifs, regrets, and comparisons. But faith focuses on promises, not problems. Faith doesn't deny the storm. It declares peace within it. You can't stop fear from knocking, but you can refuse to open the door. Keep your eyes on what's possible, not what's painful. Because whatever you focus on expands. Focus on fear, and it multiplies. Focus on faith, and it manifests. Right now, before November 8, you have the power to shape your next season with what you believe. Fear may say you've tried before. Faith says, this time it will work. Fear says, you're not enough. Faith says, grace is sufficient. Fear says, it's too late. Faith says, I am right on time, and every time you choose the voice of faith, you take back territory that fear tried to claim. Every declaration of belief becomes a brick in the foundation of your future, This is why you must guard your words in this season. What you speak in fear becomes a barrier. What you speak in faith becomes a bridge. So speak life, speak hope, speak confidence. Even if your voice shakes, speak what you desire to see, not what you fear might happen. Before November 8th, your faith-filled words have the power to shift what's waiting beyond that date. Don't waste them on worry. There's a reason fear feels so heavy. It's trying to keep you from moving. But faith is light because it's meant to lift you. When fear says, stay safe, faith says, step forward. And you will find that when you step, strength meets you. Courage doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. The moment you choose faith, even when everything in you trembles, the atmosphere around you begins to change. Doors that were shut start to open. Opportunities that seemed impossible start to align. So don't let fear steal your focus in these final days before November 8th. This is your proving ground, your chance to show heaven that you trust even when you can't trace. Let faith become your language, your posture, your heartbeat. When others panic, you prepare. When others complain, you declare. When others give up, you grow stronger, because faith doesn't wait for the storm to pass. It walks through the rain knowing the sun will shine again, and when the date arrives, you will look back and realize that the struggle was never about what was happening around you. It was about what was happening within you. You were learning to let faith lead. You were learning to silence fear with trust. And that shift, that invisible victory, will mark the beginning of everything that's coming next. Fear cannot follow you where faith is leading you. Expectation is one of the most powerful forces in the human spirit. It's more than optimism, it's faith with focus. What you expect, you attract. What you anticipate, you prepare for. Expectation is like a magnet that pulls the unseen into reality. And right now, before November 8th, your expectation carries more weight than you realize. This is the moment when what you think, say, and believe will begin shaping what comes next. The season you are stepping into is being written by the words you speak and the thoughts you entertain. That's why this message reached you early, to remind you to lift your expectation higher, to align your heart with what heaven is ready to release. There is a spiritual law that never fails. You receive on the level of your expectation. If you expect little, you prepare little. If you expect nothing, you attract nothing. But if you expect greatly, if you wake each day believing that something good is about to happen, then your attitude shifts, your energy changes, and heaven responds. Expectation is the posture of faith. It tells the universe, I'm ready for what's coming. It doesn't demand proof, it creates space for miracles to arrive. Before November 8th, this is your call to prepare in faith, to start expecting more, not less. Every breakthrough begins in the mind before it appears in life. When you expect abundance, you start thinking like someone who is blessed. When you expect healing, you begin acting like someone who's already whole. When you expect new opportunities, you start walking like doors are about to open. Expectation changes not only what happens to you, but also how you behave before it happens. It lifts your spirit, sharpens your focus, and strengthens your courage. That's why heaven is stirring your heart now, because your level of expectation will determine what happens after November 8th. There is something sacred about anticipation. It's the birthplace of miracles. Every great move of God began with people who expected something to happen. They didn't wait to see it before believing. They believed until they saw it. The woman with the issue of blood expected that if she could just touch the hem of his garment, she would be healed. The blind man expected that if he called out, he would be heard. Every miracle followed expectation. And so will yours. The difference between those who experience transformation and those who remain unchanged is not luck. It's expectation. Right now, you are being invited to set your expectation intentionally. Don't let the past lower your standards for the future. Don't allow disappointment to shrink your belief. The things that didn't work before were never meant to break your faith. They were meant to refine it. Expectation is not naive hope. It's confident trust that your story isn't finished yet. The reason this message found you now is because heaven wants you to lift your eyes from what went wrong and focus on what's about to go right. Expectation also has a sound. It speaks life instead of limitation. It says, I know my moment is coming, even when the evidence says otherwise. Expectation looks at a closed door and says, that's temporary. It faces the unknown and declares something good is on its way. When you carry that kind of mindset, everything around you begins to align. People start showing up. Ideas begin to form. Opportunities unfold. The world rearranges itself for those who expect. This is why it's important to guard your atmosphere. Surround yourself with voices that feed your faith, not your fear. Spend these days before November 8 speaking words that lift your spirit. Wake up every morning declaring, I'm expecting good news. I'm expecting favor. I'm expecting a shift. Because expectation keeps you spiritually awake. It keeps you looking forward instead of backward. It trains your heart to notice divine moments that others overlook. Some people wait for signs before they believe, but those who walk in expectation don't need signs. They become them. They carry a confidence that something greater is unfolding, even when nothing seems to move. That's the power of true faith. It doesn't wait to celebrate. It celebrates in advance. When you begin to live like that, your joy attracts more reasons to be joyful. Your gratitude opens the door for more blessings. Heaven always responds to the sound of faith-filled expectation. Before November 8, take a few quiet moments and visualize what you're believing for. See it in your mind. Speak it out loud. Thank God for it as if it has already arrived. That's not pretending, that's preparing. Because expectation isn't passive. It acts, it plans, it organizes. It clears space for the new to enter. If you expect rain, you bring an umbrella. If you expect success, you start getting ready for it. That's what this window of time is for. To prepare in expectation for what's about to unfold. There's a reason this season feels different. It's because your spirit knows something is shifting. You might not have words for it, but you can feel it. That feeling is expectation being awakened inside you. Don't suppress it. Nurture it. Feed it with prayer, with gratitude, with positive declaration. The energy you release in faith during these days will return to you, multiplied after November 8. Expectation creates motion in the unseen. The moment you begin to expect, things start to align in ways you cannot measure. People you need will be drawn to you. Opportunities you've prayed for will begin to appear. Delays will make sense because they were protecting something better. That's how powerful expectation is. It doesn't just hope for the future, it rearranges the present. So as you listen to these words, raise your standard. Expect more. Believe bigger. Speak as though you already stand in victory. These next few days are not random. They are the soil of your next season. Plant expectation in them. Water it with faith. Protect it from fear. Because on the other side of November 8, you'll see that your faith-filled expectation was not in vain. It was the invisible bridge carrying you to the miracle that's already on its way. There are moments in life when a single date becomes a doorway, not just a day on the calendar. November 8 is one of those moments. It's not the end of a season, but the beginning of something new. For those who have heard this message before that day, something sacred is taking place. Preparation. You are being positioned for a turning point, a divine shift that will mark the start of a different chapter in your journey. The time leading up to that date is not just about waiting. It's about readying yourself for what's about to unfold. When heaven schedules a turning point, it doesn't come with fanfare. It comes with quiet instruction. This message is one of them. A turning point is rarely visible while it's happening. It often looks like confusion, waiting, or even silence. But in the unseen, the atmosphere is changing. The tides of your life are rearranging. What has been delayed is aligning. What has been resisted is releasing. November 8 represents a divine intersection, where what you've been hoping for begins to meet what you've been prepared for. Many people spend their lives circling the same patterns because they never recognize the moment when the pattern is meant to break. But you, by receiving this message before the appointed time, have been given awareness that a shift is near, that what lies ahead will not mirror what's behind you. A turning point is not always loud. Sometimes it's as gentle as a whisper in your spirit saying, it's time. It's that sense that something new is coming, that the page is ready to turn. The past few seasons may have felt like waiting, stretching, or even disappointment. But those were not wasted seasons. They were the setup. Every test, every delay, every prayer you thought was unanswered has been preparation for what's about to begin. Turning points always arrive for those who are ready, not just willing. The reason this message has found you now is because you are both. Before a major shift, there is always a moment of alignment. Things start to move quietly behind the scenes. People enter your life. Old habits begin to fade. New ideas start to surface. You may not recognize it immediately, but you will look back and realize that this was the moment heaven began rearranging things for your good. November 8 is not about the date itself. It's about destiny unfolding. It's about the divine calendar aligning your circumstances with your calling. And when that alignment happens, nothing can stop it. This is why it's important to be alert in this season. Turning points require focus. If you are distracted, you may miss the signal in these days leading up to November 8. Keep your spirit awake. Don't let frustration blind you to favor. Don't let tiredness make you miss transition. Sometimes what looks like chaos is actually construction. Heaven is building something new in your life, and the process often looks messy before it becomes miraculous. Turning points also require courage. Change doesn't come without resistance. When you start moving forward, fear will try to hold you back. The familiar will try to convince you to stay where you are. But growth demands movement. If you feel stretched, it means you're moving in the right direction. Every turning point will test your willingness to trust. You'll have to let go of something, a mindset, a comfort zone, a pattern, to step into something greater. Don't resist it. Surrender to the shift. Because the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll see what it was all for. There's something holy about crossing from one chapter to the next. The world may see it as just another day, but spiritually, it's a threshold. You're stepping out of what was and into what will be. What you've been praying for is not far away. It's already approaching, but only those who have prepared will recognize it when it comes. This is why heaven sent you this message in advance. To prepare your heart, to sharpen your faith, to stir your expectation, so that when the moment comes, you won't just watch it pass, you'll step into it. Imagine standing on the edge of a new beginning. Scenery looks the same, but something in you knows it's different. You feel lighter, clearer, ready. That's what a divine turning point feels like. The circumstances around you may not have changed yet, but your spirit knows something has shifted. And once that inner shift happens, the outer world begins to catch up. November 8 will be that kind of moment, the day when what's been happening inside starts manifesting outside. Remember, every major transformation in history began with someone who was willing to recognize their turning point. Moses turned aside to look at a burning bush and stepped into destiny. David moved from the field to the throne because he recognized the moment to rise. Esther went from silence to boldness at the right time. They all had a moment that changed everything, a moment when obedience met opportunity. You are standing at that same threshold now. The message you've received is your invitation to respond like they did, with faith, readiness, and courage. As the days move closer to November 8th, don't see it as a countdown to fear. See it as a countdown to fulfillment. Each day is an opportunity to align your heart with what's coming. Speak life over your future. Let go of regret and resentment. Focus on what lies ahead, because when that day comes, the shift will begin. What was closed will open. What was stagnant will move. What was delayed will accelerate. And when you look back, you'll realize this message wasn't just words. It was a prophetic preparation. It was heaven's way of making sure you arrived at your turning point, awake and aware. Others may see November 8 as just another date, but for you, it will be a marker. The day everything began to make sense, the moment the waiting turned into walking, and the promise started becoming real. So hold on, stay expectant, and keep your spirit ready. You have not missed your time. You are right on schedule. The turning point is near, and you have been chosen to experience it fully. When it comes, step into it boldly, because the story that begins after November 8 will be greater than the one that came before.